Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Public Works Finance Committee of the Moscow City Council. At the table today are City Supervisor Belknap, Councilors Laughlin, Terusio, and Lewis. Our first item on the agenda today is the approval of Public Works and Finance Committee meeting minutes from March 28, 2022. How'd they look?
Beautiful. Great.
Yeah, good. Okay, our second item is our disbursement report for March 2022, and today is Renee Tack, and there are 10 questions for you. Welcome, Renee.
Hello. So we're doing the disbursement report. So for the month of March, expenditures were $2,421,395.89. Major expenditures were almost $2.3 million, or about 94% of the total. Some of the large expenditures to note: pipe sewer root control for $39,004. Contractor's payment for the PD number 20, $36,970. South US 95 water sewer extension payment application, $158,704. iCrimp insurance premium for the year, $139,863. And Precision concrete cutting, 2nd to 6th Street concrete cutting, $21,221.
Awesome.
Any
Good.
questions?
I have a couple.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's likely more about historic context that I'm lacking. So I guess the thing that caught my eye on the Zipley Fiber was like the long distance note for what we pay for them. And so I guess I didn't, maybe that, and I can take that one offline, but I wasn't, I was curious how the Zipley Fiber payment is structured, if it's more about them laying fiber and that's what we're paying to them for those services. Do we know?
So the bulk of that cost is our PRI line. That is all of our telephone lines, 200 and some odd lines. So the PRI is the bulk of that cost.
Okay.
So those are 2 months of expenditures, one for, let's see, February through March 18th, and then March
March through
19th through
April.
April 18th. So it's just all the communications cost of the city for all of our phone lines.
It mostly just cracked me up seeing long distance on there more than
It's,
anything.
yeah, it's PRI is the bulk of the cost. So
Okay.
we run a VoIP system, voice over IP protocol system, but we have a main connect back to Zipley, who's the telecommunications provider. So that's our trunk line cost.
Okay. And then Pullman softball officials. So do we pay Pullman to help us certify? Like, do we share that cost for certification for basketball and volleyball officials? And Pullman softball officials is who handles it? Do we know?
I'm assuming we're paying for
their
official services for the
Mhm.
course of the year, upcoming year.
And so that's like a one-time guy. And then the one that was new for me was, and I can take a couple of these offline because I know Maureen wants to get out of here.
Oh, I know. You ask any
teasing.
questions you want.
Okay,
I'm not limiting them.
Oh, so the refund laid out for the warranty period for Southview Extension to Thompson Development. So I don't, what is that for? And is that a normal function of what happens for like cost sharing for
So
what they've completed at the city?
that's
would
the
reimburse for?
warranty reimbursement. So typically when you have a subdivision in this case, they had a small extension of Southview Avenue. We have a warranty requirement where we take a warranty amount that's held for the first year in case there are any defects or deficiencies that appear over the course of that year. We have that money to be able to access it and,
Gotcha.
make those corrections to those improvements. If we make it through the warranty period and no defects are identified, then we refund that money.
Cool.
It can come in the form of cash. It can be irrevocable letter of credit, or it can be a bond,
Okay.
depending upon the developer's interest and preference. In this case, this was just the return of that warranty money we've been holding for a year.
That is cool. And then I recently drove by Hordman's Pond, and so I'm guessing is the fountain there to also help? Wasn't there like a toxic algae something or other? And is the fountain that we're helping pay for meant to help make Hordman's Pond not gross? I don't know if that was a decision.
We don't have any park staff here available to answer that
Okay.
question, but my assumption is aeration is there to improve water quality.
Cool. Yeah, it was cool to see that one come through. And then boo. Oh, I was curious about the distinction between the Finley Buttes landfill and then LSI on two separate things. So like, is that landfill sanitation payment going for what LSI is then like whatever they're shipping their garbage off to do? Is
So
that like the transfer station
We
stuff?
pay LSI for collection inside the city and operation of the transfer station, operation of the recycling center and
Okay.
programs. We pay Finley Buttes for the ultimate long haul and disposal of our municipal solid waste.
Gotcha.
So whatever does not go into inert landfill out of the
From the
transfer
transfer
station
station.
gets hauled to the landfill in Oregon, and the Finley Butte is the disposal cost.
Cool. Good stuff. And and then the payment for the Wellens, the PD payments. I'm guessing that's all coming from the bond, whatever we've
Yep.
the function of the bond that we've set aside. Okay, cool. Just wanted to double check. Checking off on my list. Okay, great. The rest of them I can take offline. Thank you.
And it's beyond just the bond cost, because the total project cost being PD Haddock and what soon will be the man improvement project exceeded the bond proceeds. So it's both general fund accumulations we
And
had for
bond.
that project as
Okay.
well as bond funds.
Good
Correct.
stuff. Cool. Thank you. Pop quiz. Haha, pop quiz done. It was just awareness concerns, or I'm sorry, questions, not concerns, to make sure I'm understanding what's on the report. So I would move that I would say consent agenda, that I'm comfortable
Mhm.
moving for this approval and authorization for the use of digital signatures to sign the disbursement report for the month of March 2022.
And the disbursements are just approved by this, they actually
We
move
just
on.
Great.
to
sign
consent,
that.
so,
Yeah,
correct.
I'm on board.
You're
Sign away.
comfortable with that
Yes.
too, Maureen? Okay, awesome. Okay, our next item is the second quarter financial report, January 1, 2022 to March 31, 2022 for fiscal year 2022. How many times can I say 2022?
Just to remind us that it's not 20.
2022.
So for the quarter, we had total city revenues of $33,121,364, and we had expenses of $25,164,848. Since we're 50% through the year, you should sort of expect that the revenues and expenses would each be about 50% of the year. There's a few anomalies. I think if you look in in the construction fund for stormwater, for example, with the revenues, we had ARPA funds that we moved into stormwater capital at the beginning of the year. So that's an extra $400,000. Similar with the capital projects, there's some ARPA funds in there. And then some of the expenses for miscellaneous funds, a lot of it's due to capital projects that were just at the beginning of the summer. So we'll see much more expenses throughout the summer months and into the fall. So those would be lower than you would expect at this point in time.
Okay, any questions?
My only question is, what is the most expensive quarter for streets? Is it summer, technically, when it's not overtime from road maintenance and stuff?
Really kind of depends on the timing of projects. So I think for this fiscal year, we've got about 2.8 million appropriated for expenditure across the various projects. That's including the 6th Street Bridge construction. So it really kind of depends on the timing of contractor pay requests. Certainly, it's going to be mid to late summer when projects are more fully underway and we start to see multiple projects underway and multiple pay requests. But it really depends upon the timing of those projects. The service treatment program runs in that $200,000 to $300,000 per year, and that'll be built out fairly quickly because the project's completed fairly quickly. Larger long-term projects like the bridge reconstruction, they get built out over a period of 6 to 9
Right.
months. So the most expensive month really kind of depends upon the timing of the projects and when payment requests are received.
Cool.
Anything else?
Nope. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Renee, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next item on our list is the asphalt rubber chip 2022 bid results and contract award. Todd Drage?
Yep.
Did I say that right?
You got it.
Right on, right on. You're bringing one with, a couple,
Yes.
looks like.
Yeah, this is Andrew Blanchard.
Andrew.
Hello. This is a presentation of the bid results for the city's pavement preservation project for this field season.
Okay.
This is a pretty cool project where every year the street department identifies budget and locations that need some treatment on. Engineering department helps them with that bid process and solicitation, and then we're able to hand that back to them for the field work. And so Andrew Blanchard here was able to get that done, and he has a presentation to quickly walk
Yeah,
you through
just a quick presentation. Todd pretty much summed it up.
But we're waiting for the PowerPoint.
I like
Of
the
course,
pretty
I got some
Waiting for it.
some visual aid for you.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, so when I first started this, I wasn't actually chip seal. You've all heard of that, but I've never heard of AR chip. So I want to do a little background on what that is. And the difference between a typical chip seal and AR chip is there's a little bit more involved with this AR chip. As you can see, they use crumb rubber, and so there's a little bit of recycled tire, as well as natural rubber that's actually blended into the emulsion. And this provides a number of benefits, especially for our area. It's really good at stopping reflective cracking, all that alligator cracking you see around town. It will help stop the propagation of those cracks and ultimately preserving and extending the useful life of the pavement, assuming that the structure underneath is still suitable. And so for this year's preservation project, we're going to finish the rest of B Street. I believe the other half of B Street was done in 2019. And then a couple others down there on the south end of town, and then over on in between 3rd and 1st Street, we have a couple other short sections of road there. And so generally they do it based off a PCI index, which is the pavement condition. And like I said, the road has to have some structure to it for this to be a viable type of maintenance option for us. And so that's where the specific roads are selected. And typically with this application, you can expect to see about a 7 to 10 year return on your investment for the pavement life, which is really good. Yes. And then just a kind of a quick idea of what we're looking at. So what they'll do is after some prepping, they'll go ahead and spray the emulsion on there. And then this is all pre-calculated with the application rate, et cetera, et cetera. The only difference is this is a typical chip seal. So what we're going to be getting is that aggregate that comes out of that rock is going to be pre-coated with asphalt as well. So we're getting a pretty good deal as far as type of work we're getting. And then, yeah, so before and after, I wish I had pictures to show you, but they seem to have disappeared. But for example, on Adams Street in Lincoln, we had a condition index of 71 in 2017. And after the 2019 AR chip, after the new rating system, it came back perfect. So it just gives you that it does work.
And so what PCI rating are we looking and going, ooh, we should be putting that on the short list? Is 70% about where
70
we
is
wanna
probably
be?
really good, but you
Okay.
can probably, depending down to 50, anything less than that, you're probably looking at more of a
Gut and
reconstruction.
redo.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, grind and inlay type of.
And this one cures in like less than 24 hours, right? Like I remember them doing
Yeah, they could.
remember getting the request to like move my car and stuff back in the day.
Yeah, they'll apply. They could probably apply this in a week. Get all this done in a week once
Cool.
everything's set up and going. I'm not fully aware of what the whole process is. I'm sure they have to set up a lot and
Yeah.
get the plant and stuff. But once they're moving,
Right.
Scott, can-
Scott,
How long does it take to cure?
Yeah, so once this product is down, this is one of those that they spray the emulsion. Immediately behind them, the rock gets dumped. They roll it. And I'd say within half an hour to an hour, you can actually drive traffic on.
So the idea is someone leaves for work, may not be able to park in their parking spot, but
Yeah. This is even
Road will be
faster
better
than the
when they get
slurry
home.
seal. Well, the slurry seal is more like a half day. This is, I watched this over in like West Richland and the Tri-Cities when they were doing it. It was, they made a pass, a couple things went by, and then traffic followed behind them.
oh, so is this our first time doing this one? I'm what I'm picturing is a
we've
slurry
done this
seal.
in 2015 and 2019, and the process goes pretty quick. It's a little bit slower in a residential neighborhood versus like, big collector street
Sure.
and everything, but yeah, this goes pretty fast.
Right on.
So how much trouble do you have with people leaving their cars? I mean, I read the whole thing about a notice. You give everybody notice. It says, have your car out the street, have them on your driveway, someplace else, bring this period of time. I'm just wondering, do we like have tow trucks that move them?
Only as a last
I was just like
resort.
momentarily thinking.
For the most part, we're able to get to everybody.
Yeah.
There's only been the occasion, like even like slurry seal and stuff, where we've actually had to go around them and come back with a touch up later.
Yikes.
This is one of those that we've pretty much had everybody be able to move
Wow.
everything.
Cool.
yeah, and just as coming back to the differences, you can see the color coordination. The ones in red obviously are worse condition roads, and the ones in green are better. And so that was a section of roadway done in 2019, and we can see that is increased in condition. So overall, this is a good project to do.
Yeah.
And just kind of an idea of what we'll be looking at. So that is, and not the greatest pictures, but those are actual AR chip down. So you're going to get a nice black top. So it'll look like a new road.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And then, yeah, so it's our recommendation that we award the contract in the amount of $327,300 to Doolittle Construction, and to have the staff approve a construction change order not to exceed 10% of the contract amount.
Questions?
I have one, and that is just curiosity because of tires. Is there a place that somebody collects all those tires? You know, where all used.
Yeah, for projects he's coming out of Seattle, so there's obviously a collection of them over there that they're using. In the past, we've used companies where they've pulled them out of large places in California or wherever they may be, large yard somewhere.
Okay. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
They kind of balancing act somewhere between pushing it far enough so you're not doing it too soon, but not waiting too long where somebody comes back and says you're below 50 and you're in trouble now. So it's really
Yeah, and this is just another tool in our toolbox. So, I mean, Slurry Seal is for kind of keeping the good roads good. This is more of like the roads kind of getting a little bit aged, but we can still keep it going. It's not quite to the point where we have to do any like major resurfacing everything. If you were to compare it to like, work on the car or something, Slurry Seal's like giving it an oil change, you're just normal tune-up. This is like a little bit more of a major tune-up, but not to the point where we're replacing big parts or the engine yet. So,
All right.
okay.
I'm good with
Great.
consent.
Okay, we'll
Yep,
put that on
we got it.
consent, please. Guys, good job.
Thank
you. Todd, you have to stay though.
Sure.
Our next item is Ridgeview Estates Second Edition Development Agreement Amendment.
All right, what we have for you today is the amendment to the development agreement for Ridgeview Estates Second Edition. If you recall, this property is located southeast Moscow and south of Notting Hill and north of the interstate, of State Highway 8. Ridgeview Estate consists of 43 total lots, ranging from 7,000 to 14,000 square feet. There's a park in the southwest portion, and there's a stormwater retention basin on the southern portion of the lot. A little background, this went through final platting as approved by City Council September of 2014. The development agreement was completed later in that year, but the property remained undeveloped until last year when Bloom Enterprises 3 LLC purchased the property and requested to amend it to allow phasing, 2 different phases. This is the approved phasing. Phase 1 shows the northern portion, 14 lots, and then the utilities required to tie into the city's infrastructure, which was the stormwater detention basin and the sanitary sewer. This phase was completed last year, is actually in that warranty period, and there's a security for that right now. Construction plans for the project have been approved by the city. However, there's still some design issues with the highway improvements. I don't have a permit through ITD yet. It's a little bit higher bar, and so as we're still working through that design and permitting, the developer has requested additional phasing, which is essentially to break that second phase up into 2 phases, 3 phases total. And they submitted this figure, which shows that phase 2, which is 11 lots on both sides, that wild rose. Phase 3 will be the remaining 18 lots, and then any construction that's left. And so for the amendment, it's just a simple, some language that describes the 3 phases, and then that exhibit that you just saw detailing each phase. And other than that, no changes were proposed to the development agreement. And so I think it's a pretty reasonable request. And with that, we recommend approval of that amendment. I can stand for any questions you have.
Is the additional phase, I'm sorry, Gina.
Sorry, go ahead.
Is the additional phasing meant to make it so that they're not having to stop construct? Like, does it break the threshold that they need from ITD to be putting in the turn lane? Like, is that part of what the strategy is, or is it just what they
No.
plan on developing right now is that what will be phase 2?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. They just want that phase 2 as we're
Okay.
still working with the permitting. But when you have a subdivision, they have to complete all of the improvements prior to getting the building permit. And so this allows them to kind of mitigate their risk and break this up a little further rather than having to chunk that whole thing off. And so they'll be able to complete this phase this year while working through permitting, and then complete the next phase likely
Gotcha.
next year.
Maureen, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay,
Makes
Maureen.
sense to me.
Cool.
Spread out the
Okay.
money.
Sure.
Yeah, we can put that
Expenses.
on. We can put that on consent too. All right. Our last item is, thank you, Todd, is the ARPA Small Business and Nonprofit COVID-19 Assistance Grant Program Resolution Update. Good Lord. Cody
Mass
Riddle.
exodus. Mass exodus.
Yeah,
Here
say
we
that
go.
5 times fast.
Thank you, committee members. We can probably be pretty brief with this one. As you'll recall, back in December of 2021, Council adopted Resolution 2021-30 that included two distinct grant programs, one for the small business and nonprofits, and then a second program for community and social service nonprofits. Included in that resolution wasn't a maximum award allowance for each program, but there wasn't discretionary authority included in the language for both programs. When we presented the first round of applications on April 4th of this year, that was noted, and staff was directed to go back and update that resolution to provide that discretionary authority for both programs or both categories. So that's what's included in your packet today. It was the simple change or addition of the language in red that you're certainly not obligated to, but it does create the discretionary authority to grant more than the maximum award for either program. And so with your support, we'll provide that resolution or bring that resolution language back
Can
to
you
the
go
full
back to
council.
that?
Mhm.
Excuse me, can I ask him a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to make sure that shall allow the applicant to amend their program. So for instance, just the one that we approved on the 4th was the one for the food bank. But if they came back and they decided that they wanted more money, they could just amend it and come back in already.
Oh, or would it be?
Or would it
square
be
one?
another
I-
one?
It'd be a-
I think
I
we'd
mean,
probably
separate
treat
one.
that as
It'd have to be a new one, but the
probably.
answer is just because they got that
Hmm.
25,000 up front doesn't mean they couldn't amend it by adding a new one. I'm like lost with the amended.
The amendment was if we were reducing the scope. So if we were awarding them less than they requested, then we allow them to modify and amend their application, their spending plan. So that's what it is. It says, city reserves the right to award a portion of the request. In such cases, the city shall allow the applicant to amend their program and budget proposal to reflect the amount of the grant award. So language was addressing a reduced award
Okay.
below what was requested.
Oh, actually, that's so interesting because I thought it was the other way around. Kind of like if you send out notices to everybody who has put in a request at 25,000, if they wanted to up that.
We'll do that administratively, but this was the existing language
Right.
in the resolution.
Okay.
Right. So
Great.
it's just saying we were reserving the right to award a portion of their request. And that was if we saw so many applications that we couldn't fund, the council couldn't fund all of them, then we reserve the right to give partial awards and allow them to modify their plan.
Okay,
Right on.
thanks.
But the red is what has been added as a
That's
result
correct.
of council.
Correct.
Okay. I don't think this should go on as a
Consent.
consent.
No, this would be good to have.
Because it's a
regular agenda.
resolution too,
Yep.
right? Okay. All right.
Okay.
Cody, thank you. That
Thank you
was
very much.
indeed brief. Thank you.
Short but sweet. Thank you.
You guys
Thank
really
you.
kicking it today. Thank you very much.
Okay, any reports? Well, actually, that's the end of our official agenda. And our next item is reports. Do
No
you have any
reports from
for us?
staff. No.
Okay, awesome. Then I
Move
would,
to amend. To close.
you were amending up a storm today. aren't you? I say we
I'm like last
adjourn.
minute, adjourn. Here we go. Amendment adjourned. Here we go. Get the A's moving.
Thank you. We will adjourn.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
you.